Hello everybody, welcome to Feature Friday. We'll get started here in about 5 more minutes. I'm still getting stuff set up. Hope everyone has had a wonderful week. We're going to have some fun tonight. Tonight's a continuation of our Lunch Box Quilts Just Flowers series. Ooh, that was a mouthful to say, wasn't it? Okay, I'm still threading up my machine and all that fun stuff. Hope everyone's has had a wonderful week. So I have two blocks to make tonight, and I just got my fabric and my threads for the fabric selected. Get those moved to the side. Let's see here. There's that. Hi Georgia, happy Friday to you. Thank you. Great to see you as well. Alrighty. So tonight we're going to make 2 blocks, and then I'm going to show you how to mark them for trimming with the Mark a Block product from Lunch Box Quilts. That's this stuff right here, Mark a Block. I'll show you how to use these tonight. Okay. Hi, Cynthia. Good to see you as well. Okay. Woohoo! Boy, howdy. It is really warmed up here. Rain is supposed to come in here tomorrow night, and we're supposed to drop from like the 80s down to like 50 or so. So we're going to have a big temperature drop here shortly, here in the area where I live. Hi, Mia. Happy Friday. Good evening. Alrighty, there's those. And let me see. I'm going to start with that one. I'm going to put some pretty purple embroidery thread. Thread my machine with that. There we go. Thread and thread, and it went through the eye. That's a good thing. It's always a good thing when the equipment works, right? Okay, move these down, and then we'll be ready to go. Alrighty. Woohoo! Got my stabilizer cut. I'm just looking here at my little work table here, everybody. Alrighty. And let's see. We got 2 more minutes to go, everybody, and we'll get started. So the different thing with the blocks tonight, this is block number 2, and we have to make 2 of them, but there's 3 different fabrics in this particular block, which means I've studied the way it's constructed. It means I'm going to have to let me think here for just a second. I'm just going to hoot my stabilizer. That's right. Which means I'm going to have to trim after each tack down stitch of one of the layers of fabric for this to work properly. This one's a little bit more complex than the last 2 weeks. It's all good. Hi, Margaret. Oh, wonderful, Margaret. This is a fun one, isn't it? It is so much fun. If you're following along, you should have 6 blocks done. First we did block 1 large or alternate, depending which machine you have. And then we did last week, block 1 small. And 3 of those. And then tonight we're doing block number 2, 2 of those blocks. So just 2 blocks tonight. Alrighty. You get my other little camera set up and we'll be good to go. Here we go. Okay. I got up about 6 this morning and came downstairs to the studio and finished quilting a quilt in my long arm. Those of you that watched my Quilts in Italy series from last fall, I finished quilting the blue and white one from the Cave book Quilts in Italy. That was the name of the quilt top, blue and white. Hi Christina, happy Friday. And Karen, if you are in here, thank you so much for being a member of Behind the Scenes. Welcome. It is 6 o'clock, everyone. We are going to get started. Okay. Hi, Linda. Hi, Linda. Good to see you, Linda. Hi, Carol. Welcome. Good to see you here, too. Okay, everybody. So this is what we're doing. This is what we are working on. And I think I counted last week. I think there's a total of 41 blocks, I think, or something like that. Approximately 40 blocks, and we have 6 out of 40 done. Tonight will be 2 more blocks. We'll have 8 of 40 done. But it's all good. It's a lot of fun. And tonight we are doing, let me get to my little graphic sheet here. We are doing flower number 2. I'm going to swap my camera. Let me swap my camera. Make it easier for everyone to see. Right there. Right here is what we're doing. This one right here, flower number 2. So there are 3 different fabrics in this one. And after each tack down stitch, I'm going to have to take the hoop out of the machine and trim each step of the way on this one. This one is a bit more complex than the first 2. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to pull up that design on my screen, and we're going to get started, everybody. So I'm going to go and pull up, I have it on a USB stick stuck into my machine. Okay, I'm going to pick out PES and flower number 2, which is right there. Flower number 2, we're going to pick that. This makes a 6.5 inch finished block, everybody. Then I'm going to do set. And I have an optional 6 by 6 inch hoop. That is what I am using because, check it out, this block, the embroidery is 5.4 by 5.5, so that's the perfect size hoop for this particular block. You could always use a larger one if you didn't have that one. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to we're in embroidery edit, I'm going to go into embroidery stitch out mode, and I'm going to go to layout, and I'm going to add a basting stitch because I am going to float this fabric in the hoop. Okay. Just what I'm getting ready to do right now. So what that means is all I have hooped is my stabilizer, okay? So I'm just going to put this one corner up into the corner of my hoop. And then I'm going to baste it to the stabilizer. All I have to do is touch my start button and it will baste. Thank you, Karen. Hi, Vanessa. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Karen. Hey, Karen, I was sick this last week. I was down with my back. So I am back up to running normal now. And so you really, honestly, you didn't miss anything. Last night I was in our private group membership doing fabric painting. So that's what was. So I just basted it down. Now it's wanting to do the placement stitch. And you know what? I realized I just did, everybody. I shouldn't have put that piece of fabric on there. And you want to know why? Because I need my background fabric. So I'm going to start tonight off by using a seam ripper. And you get to watch my boo-boo, what I did here. It's okay. It's easy to do. And I'm just going to rip out this basting stitch. And you know what? I'm just going to unhoop it simply because, yeah, I did not hoop this correctly. There we go. Now then, excuse me. I'm just going to rip out those basting stitches real quick. Super easy to do. I'll be able to reuse this piece of stabilizer. It's all good. But by taking it out of the hoop, it's even easier to rip these off than trying to use a seam ripper to pick the stitches while it's still in the hoop. Blah, blah, blah. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right. And we'll bring this back in a moment. Now I'm going to rehoop this with my background fabric. Duh. Oh my gosh. So here is your proof positive, everybody. I don't care how long you've been doing this. We all make boo-boos, and it's okay. It's nothing to get freaked out about. There we go. Now, I've cut my background. This block finishes 6.5 by 6.5. So what I've done, I cut my fabric 8.5 by 8.5 according to the instructions that come with the designs. And that way, you have a little wiggle room, and because we'll trim these down to 6.5 by 6.5, and I will show you how to do that tonight. And what I will show you will apply for whichever block you're using, all that fun stuff. There we go. Now we're going to baste. We are going to baste our background fabric to the stabilizer. And since I already did a step, I'm just going to go to the 0 position, and that puts me right back at the very beginning. There's my basting square. Touch OK. And now we're back at the start, and now I'm just going to press start. And now we'll do our basting stitch. It's a nice big stitch. It's probably at least 6 millimeters in length. So it's really easy to rip those out at the end. Okay, now there's our basting stitch. You can see that fairly well right here. Now it is going to stitch down the placement stitch for this fabric. So it's our bottom layer of flower petals. So we're going to stitch that. We're going to stitch out our placement stitch. And then that will show me where to place this fabric onto the background fabric. There we go. And now I'm going to place this so that this outline that we just stitched down, this placement stitch, is completely covered by fabric. Right there. I'm just lining it up with my basting stitch right here for my first step. That way I know it's all nice and covered up. We'll press the start button. This is our tack down stitch. All right, now I'm going to trim off and remove the hoop and trim off my excess fabric. Because look at the next step, it's the inner flower petals. This will be a placement stitch right here for the next step, so I really need, it would behoove me to trim this. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to trim off my excess fabrics. Okay, and I have my little Kai curved tip embroidery snips. Excuse me. It is full blown on allergy season here. Our magnolia tree is in full bloom. It sure is pretty. We'll just take our time and go all the way around. All of this will be covered up with stitching, so you don't have to be perfect unless you just want to be. Get as close to that tack down stitch without cutting any stitching and you'll be good to go. I do find by holding the fabric you're cutting up at about a 45-degree angle helps those little scissors slide right up under there where they need to be. And since they're curved, it really helps prevent from cutting into your background fabric, in this case, this gray fabric. Okay. ahead and clip that one off. And we're almost all the way around there. Here we go. That's all trimmed. Now we'll put this one back in the hoop and we'll stitch down our next placement stitch. I'm debating, yes, I am going to swap out my thread color. Oops, put this yellow in. Oops, come on, you. Come on. There you go. Okay. And we'll get that machine threaded. Then we'll stitch down our next placement stitch. Okay. And we'll press that start button. So it's making a bunch of small little petals is what it's doing. Now a person could use scraps here if they wanted to. It would be a pain to cut apart. Not really a pain, but it'd take a little while to cut it apart. And see what it's doing right here, everybody. There's what it's stitching out. Those are placement stitches. I'm just going to put a solid piece of fabric over that is what I am going to do. Alrighty. And this is the fabric I'm using for the next little set of petals. So I'm just going to barely get that covered up, like so. And we'll now do a tack down stitch. Yes, Linda, a scan cut would cut out all of these shapes if you program it to do so. However, not everybody has one, so I'm just showing how to use it, how to do it the way that all people would have the capability of doing so. And that's all. Check something out here. Let's see. Right there. All right, now it's time to trim again. Okay. As you can see, all those little petals. Okay. Now I'm not going to trim up in here. Well, let me think. Yes, I am. I don't want that much fabric underneath there. But a lot of this, where we're trimming, will get covered in stitching, but it still needs to be trimmed. And this is quite honestly something I don't mind doing. It's kind of fun to do. Scan and cut is really great if you're doing large appliques or appliques that are not complex with a lot of layers to it like these are. Okay. All you do is just take your time. It's easy to do. It's all good. There we go. Now I'm going to trim out that center portion. And then we'll have one more placement stitch to go, everybody. But there we go. Woohoo. There's that one. Now we'll get that put back into the machine here. Okay. And now we are going to do the placement stitch for the center, which I'm using this turquoise fabric for that one. Alrighty. Then we'll do our tack down stitch right there. Woohoo! Then we're going to trim that and we'll be ready to do the final embroidery on it. Okay. There we go. It's all trimmed. Now, what it will do, it will start stitching out from the outside to the center. So first I'm going to have purple, then yellow, then turquoise thread. There we go. Which means I will change my thread again. Go back to that purple. Okay, now we are ready to do our first set. This is what it's going to look like right there in the purple. Okay, and we'll lower our presser foot and put this down and press the start button. And a quick change of plan. I guess I should have put the yellow thread in, but that's okay. I'll swap out the order of those. That was just my choice. It'll be good. It will all be good. Put yellow around the outside edge of the purple then. Those are wonderful tips, Linda. Yes, they are. Aren't they beautiful? I'm just so impressed with Lunch Box Quilts and Angie Stevenson on her digitizing. But once you do finally get all the fabric tacked down, this is the easy part here. You just get to watch it and be mesmerized and take the time to actually enjoy the stitch out. And remember, after the stitch out is done, we're going to learn how to square up the blocks and trim the blocks to size for a final assembly using the markup block system made by Lunch Box Quilts. So while that is doing that, everyone, let's talk about the marker block system. I'm going to go to a different camera angle. Let's see here. Right here. There we go. Open it up a little bit. So what I'm talking about is this. Marker block, and this is for just flowers, which is what we're stitching. And when you open it up, there's these acetate blocks inside. There's one of these for every single block that is made for this quilt. And what you have to do This is to mark, this is a template to put over the top of the finished, stitched out block to mark it so that you can mark it to trim off the excess fabric. So what you would do first is cut these out of this right on the black outside line. And I've already cut 3 of these. Right here. So this was for last week's, just flowers small. That first one that was so large, it's a split template. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do this. And then the one for tonight, stitching out, is this one right here. And the important thing to do when you're laying this on the block, and I'm going to do this here in just a moment, you want to center that center design into the center of your stitching. And then it's easy to square up. Because when you hoop your fabric, it may not be perfectly square, so these may not, where the embroidery and applique is, it may not line up perfectly, but that's okay. That's not what these are for. So, for instance, let's do this small one first, right here. We're going to do this one. This is one from last week. Move my camera a little bit. Angle it down some. There we go. Zoom in a little bit better. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to center the center right here, or the center of this. And now that one, it actually lined up really well. Notice, that outline is right on top of it. That means I had my fabric in pretty square, everybody, is what that means. Hi, Pamela. So what you can use a chalk or a friction pin. I like to use these micron pins to mark with. They're permanent. They're not going to bleed or fade or anything like that. So check it out. I'm going to square this up. I'm making sure this center right here is right on top, that is centered by using this. And then I'm going to line up, and we'll get the next one started here in just a moment. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to line it up. And then I'm going to hold it down, and I'm just going to mark just some little marks. You don't have to go all the way around it. Right along the edge. And then I'll use a ruler to rotary cut with. When I take that off, now you'll see my marks. See my mark in that corner right there? Now I have marks on each corner to line up my ruler with to rotary cut it. Hi, Bernadette, it's okay. And that's how you use these, okay? So there was for that size. Now the large one, this is a big one. Let me back this up a little bit. I'll show you how to do this. This one, we're going to lay this down, okay? And I'm going to use my center right here to center it right on that block. Because these will not always line up just perfectly because the fabric was twisted a little bit in the hoop or whatever. Doesn't matter. Center it by this center square right here. Right there. And the reason there's 2 different size petals on this one does large and medium both. This one does right here. So then I'm going to take the other half of it and I'm going to overlay it so that this line down the center lines up. And now I can mark the corners for my 12.5-inch block. Okay. I'm just going to put some marks right along the sides of the plastic template near each corner, just like before. And what I'm using, that it'll be cut out, it'll never be seen. Only you who are making the marks will see it. So it's all good. There we go. And now that one's smart. Now all I will have to do is go to my rotary cutting station and check it out. And I would line up my ruler on that mark and this one right there and trim it and do that around all 4 sides, and this one will end up to a perfect 12.5-inch square. Okay? Perfect 12.5-inch square. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Now when we get this one that's in the hoop done, we're going to mark it as well. Okay. These are some that we have not done yet, so I'm going to put them back in its little envelope. And then we're going to swap out our thread color and finish stitching our flower that's in the hoop. Okay. Let's see how that one lined up right there. And there's its corners right there to line that up with as well. Okay. But this really makes it easy to get a nice square block, is the point in all of that. Okay, so back to this. Let's swap our camera back. There we go. Now I'm going to swap out my thread color. We'll change to the yellow. And the fabric you use and the thread colors you use, those are all up to you, okay? You don't have to use the thread colors that are on a screen, because those are just generic colors. But you would want something that complements your blocks, for sure, your fabrics for your flowers, for sure. So, now this, check it out. That's what it's going to stitch out this time. This is the outside edges and going down to the center. This one will take a little while, not too horrible. Nothing like that first night. Those are like 55-minute stitch outs for each block. But in a nutshell, that's how easy it is to use the mark-a-block system to trim your blocks down so they will fit together perfectly. Well, thank you, Bernadette. They are super cute, aren't they? Now, the fabric I'm using is a layered cake, which are 10-inch squares of Tula Pink True Colors, is what I'm using for all my applique flowers for this quilt top. Here are my next. I have to make 2 of these blocks. These are the other fabric and thread right here that I've selected with coordinating thread colors for each one of those. This is actually more like this is actually an emerald green. It just the lighting in here is throwing off the color of this one for some reason. so much fun. Oh my goodness. Right now it's doing what's called an underlay, because it's going to put quite a bit of stitching all the way around that. And we're about halfway done with the stitch out on this. Oh, thank you, Bernadette. The machine does all the work, and quite honestly, Lunch Box Quilts did all the work of creating the design. I'm just swapping fabric and thread colors. That's all I'm doing. But it sure is pretty, isn't it? And it is a lot of fun to do this, everybody. As most of you that have an embroidery machine will attest to. It is a lot of fun to do. And when I'm choosing thread, I try to pick out a color of thread that is predominant in a piece of fabric that I'm using. And that really makes it color coordinate all together really well. For instance, let's come back to this. So while that looks a little bit different, if you unspool some thread on top of it, it really blends in nicely. So that's why I decided for that. This is, it looks more like a blue-green on camera, but this is really emerald green. The colors got emerald green, this is emerald green. And then this other fabric here, this is two different colors of an orange, red-orange, so naturally that thread will really blend well nicely with that. And that's what I decided for my colors on this one. Now for the very center of this, there is the thread color for that one. It's a nice turquoise. It really matches, picks it up well, and accentuates the fabric. Oh, wonderful, Bernadette. Yes, you'll be able to make one of these on your Altair for sure. If you wanted to. Absolutely, Linda. But what it is stitching down, it's a very textured, digitized stitch. The texture of this stitch is not built into the machine. Angie at Lunch Box Quilts created this design. Check it out. This is what it's stitching down right now. This is all thread. I mean, it has a soft feel like fabric. It almost looks like a fabric it's been sewn down, but it's not. This is all thread around each one of those petals. And that's what it's stitching out right now, is this design right here for its applique stitch. That covers up all the raw edges of the fabric. Yes, it does look like a honeycomb. Look at that. Hi, Janelle. Welcome. If I move the camera over here to this side, see if I have enough cord here. There we go. You can see that honeycomb in the yellow right there. Oh, thank you, Bernadette. You're so kind. Thank you. SMP is a great company. They really are. They really have great deals on their products, that's for sure. And they're a fun group to work with as well. In the past, I have personally purchased machines from Sewing Machines Plus for myself. But thank you for that compliment. You're so kind. Yes, Janelle, I will be in Boise the weekend of May the 13th for the Rusty Barn Quilt Show. look at a calendar. But yeah, it's those. I think it's this year. Yes, I will be in Boise May 11, 12, and 13 at the Rusty Barn Quilt Show. That really is a pretty block right there. Just looking at it on camera and then on the block stitching out in the hoop. It's got some nice lines to it. Oh, thank you, Brother Dad. You're going to love that Altair. It's an awesome machine. Ooh, we get to change threads now for our final thread change for this block. We are going to put in, change it to this turquoise to go around that center turquoise. Woohoo! Just swap out those thread colors. Press that start button and it will finish that little block right there. Oh, that's for sure, Janelle. I totally agree with what you said. And I really like the center, those little circular centers. It's a really cool, it's a jagged edge. The only way I can describe it, and I love it, it's a jagged edge satin stitch, like this. This is what it is stitching out right now. Isn't that pretty? I really like that stitch right there as well. Okay. Oh, wonderful, Margaret. Congratulations. It is a wonderful machine. All right, everybody, and that's how you stitch out block number 2. Remember, if you're making the large quilt, you'll need to stitch out 2 of these. Okay, so now I'm going to take it out of the hoop and clean it up. First, I'm going to rip out my basting stitch. I'm going to do it this way. It just seems to be a little bit quicker and does it really well this way. I'm using a stabilizer called Ultra Clean Tear. It is a paper tearaway. And I really like it because it really does tear off nice and clean. Not all stabilizers do that. It also doesn't put a lot of stress on the stitches as you're ripping it out. Almost got those all cut. Now then, I'm going to cut off my little knot. Here we go. Then, there we go. It's all nice and clean. Then I'm just going to flip it over, and I'm going to pull the tearaway towards the center of the embroidery. And look at that. Look how nice and clean that tears. And I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it. And that's when I have used some tearaway stabilizers where it seems like it's going to pull the stitches out of the fabric. This does not do that. Okay. There's that. Then I still have more to get though. And that's the paper on the back of it. Some people leave it in, some people tear it out. So that's really up to you as to what you want to do. The others I have torn out. Okay. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. It's purple stitching right here. Get a little closer in with that focus so you can see it. Pretty, isn't it? Okay, so if you're going to tear this out, I carefully use a seam ripper. You could use a stiletto. Get that little thread cut right there as well. Here we go. Okay. So what you can do is take your seam ripper or stiletto and gently rake it towards the center. Normally what I like to do is just to stick my seam ripper under there and tear it a little bit. It'll just come right off once you get it started. You can put your finger underneath where you're inserting that seam ripper to make sure you're not going all the way through to the other side and you're actually going to tear fabric instead of just this paper product. Here we go. See, it comes off pretty easy. Just got to get it a start so you can get a hold of it to pull it. Let's try this. There we go. On this one, these little scissors seem to work the best to get it started. Okay, we're over halfway there. I'm going to finish ripping this one out. Not ripping it out, but you know what I mean. Getting the paper removed. And there's so many different theories on stabilizer, and some people use a product called Terrial Magic that makes the fabric super stiff when it goes in the hoop. And the only way it has a wonderful effect, you do have to wash it out though, so it really depends whether you're really wanting to launder your piece like that. Let's see here. Oh yes, little Puffin was just in here on the floor. I wasn't even watching the comments. I don't want to miss anything. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. There we go. Yes, so, oh, thank you, Christina. Yes, so I will be going back up to Shelby Township, Michigan, which is just north of Detroit again. So I do go there. I do go to Decorative Stitches in Shelby Township, Michigan. You know, the thing is, I would, if someone requests, if a shop requests me to come there, I'm always more than happy to oblige and go pretty much anywhere in the U.S., Canada, or further out than that. But yes, I do travel. I haven't traveled as much this year as I did last year. I've had some health issues, which are getting much better and all that fun stuff. But yeah, I do like to travel. Let's get this paper finished right here. Woohoo! Here we go. All done now. Right there. This looks on camera very fluorescent, this yellow, but it's not. It's more of a bright lemon yellow color than just the lighting here in my studio, really the way it reflects off of that thread. It really changes the color of it on camera. But it's not. It's actually, that's the thread from the yellow right there. Oops. There you go. Okay. And then all we have left to do is to mark it with our mark-a-block template. Let's see here. This one right here. There's exactly centered on that. And you don't have to line the lines up onto the actual embroidery. What I do, I will center it right there perfectly. And then if I need to adjust the raw edges, the edges of the block to line up with the edges of my cut piece, because I know I used a rotary cutter and a ruler to cut my 8.5 inch squares for the stitch out. It really makes it easy that way to do that. And then I'm just going to put down my marks. Then later I will take it to my cutting table and rotary cut it. There we go. Now you can see my marks on here that I can line up with my ruler, my little hash marks, to trim that up down to its proper size. So these will actually trim to 6.5 by 6.5. Okay. Woohoo! That one's all done. Yay! So everybody, that's what I have for you tonight. I'll finish the other block here before next Friday. We're going to be doing block number 3 next Friday, and we'll need three of those blocks. Okay, let me swap my camera over here, everyone. Do. Oh, thank you, Bernadette. Absolutely. Hey, y'all, come. If you want to come to the studio, you can come anytime. We are open. Let me move my camera. Get to a different camera going here. There we go. Hello there. Yes, our little shop here is open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And yes, come by. I'll make coffee. We'll sit on the back porch and have coffee. Flowers are starting to bloom. The tulips are in full bloom. The magnolia tree is just awesome this year. It is covered in beautiful pink flowers. Tracy, yes, the private membership Zoom will be the last weekend in April. I will get that on the schedule. It will be a Surger night for that night. And I will be getting the pattern and everything uploaded real soon for that. For our thingy. Oh, wonderful, Bernadette. They'll always be here. All of my lives are recorded, so you can always come back and watch them as many times as you choose to. Excuse me. Oh, you're welcome, Tracy. Yes, I have a fun little project for you private club members for our April Zoom class. It'll all be done on the Serger, and you'll learn a bunch of stuff on that. Thank you, everybody. We're going to call it a night. I'm going to have to go make dinner. Yes, I am making chicken fried steak, mashed potatoes, gravy, and green beans for dinner tonight. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I love each and every one of you, and I will see you all next Friday night, and some of you I will see tomorrow night in the private club, where we're starting a project on there. So, yes, so Bernadette, the featherweight thing is part of the private club membership. You have to join the membership area of my channel to see all of that, which I do a lot of other stuff throughout the week on that channel, on that part of my channel. So if you just go back and see that join button, you can click on that and read all about the different levels of that, Bernadette. Down below the video, there's a join button. If you click on that, you'd have to be to the medium or highest level to see those videos. And those are all live, just like they are right here. And I will get another featherweight club scheduled here real soon. So, yes, and what that is, Bernadette, it's a monthly membership part of the club, and we do a whole lot of stuff on there. I think you would probably like that as well. I think all of you would, quite honestly. So just check it out. The medium level is $9.95 a month, and you get access to all of the extra lives that I do through the week, and I'm doing approximately 3 additional lives per week on the private membership club area. I do too, Bernadette. I love my featherweight. Yes, I have a featherweight 221 as well. They are such awesome machines. But then the highest level membership of the club includes all the extra lives plus 1 Zoom class per month. So just something for you to think about. This month we are doing a Serger class for our Zoom class. Okay, everybody, have a wonderful evening. I'll see you all real soon. Good night, everyone. Thank you.